Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Glorious Reacts. Um, this is Glorious Reacts' initial reaction episode for Dune. Before we begin, I would like to introduce ourselves. I am your friend from Down Under, Arnold, and I am joined by the thriller from Manila, Joel. Say hi, Joel.
Hey guys, what's up?
And our very own Singapore sling, Paul. Say hi, Paul.
Hello.
It is 2021 and the spice must flow. It is time to partake in the melange that is Dune, one of the most anticipated movies of this year. Does it live up to our individual hype? Let's find out. Now that we've gotten a chance to watch Dune, it is time to put down our initial reactions. As usual, we will be going through what we liked and disliked about what we saw, but we will be avoiding revealing any content that has not yet been revealed in the various trailers and teasers that's currently available. Yes, this is a spoiler-free episode. This also means we will be skipping our recap, unfortunately, or no, I guess thankfully for in Joel's case because it's quite tough. This is a fairly chunky movie. So, let us get right to it. So, let's go straight to our likes. And I would like for Joel to start us off because apparently he is the one who has the most background with this movie. Before we begin, I'd just like to gauge, has anybody in this group actually I know Joel's the only one who's actually put in the effort to read the books. I know Paul has started as well, but hasn't gone very far. But has anybody here actually watched the original 1984 movie?
No, but I'm curious. I'm
Yeah,
curious.
it piqued my curiosity, but I've never gotten around to. I think it's on HBO Go.
I see. Okay, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
but
It's clearly available.
I never really got around to watching.
Similarly, just in preparation for the next two episodes, I actually gave it a try. I watched the trailer, and I must say that trailer hasn't aged very well. It's really quite the it's really quite the movie of its time. But that enough of that. It's just a good thing to
It
establish.
had Sting though.
It did have Sting, and those blue underpants. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Joe, let's start us off with your likes with what you've seen.
Okay, so yeah, the first thing that you really notice, that first thing that I noticed when I watched it, is that it lives up for me. It lives up to the hype of being an epic. Uh, and this is because of the visuals, all of the different visuals that you see. It really gives you a grand scale of what the movie or probably a franchise is going to be about. Yeah, so the visuals is really good. The costumes, the vehicles, the landscape. I mean, the landscape of even Caladan and Arrakis.
Arrakis, yeah, and even,
Yeah, even
Gate Prime as well, to an extent,
yeah,
I guess, to an extent.
yeah. I mean that you really saw that a lot. They use a lot of wide shots. They made use of the wide shots. Second, of course, I said this in the hype video again here. The cast. I really love the cast. I really love the cast. Special note: I said in the hype video that Rebecca Ferguson is a Bond girl. She's actually not. She was in Mission Impossible. She's not. She's not in James Bond movies. So
Okay,
I mixed up my
right.
two spy movie franchises.
That's fair.
So she's in Mission Impossible. Yeah. So the cast. I rattled them off in the hype video. So if you wanna see how my rattling off and how I connected them based on the franchises that they've been in before,
Yep.
yeah, just go watch our hype video.
Yep.
So yeah, the cast of Dune Part 1 was really is really good.
It's quite spot
Top
on.
notch. Yeah, we've got A-listers on this movie,
I just
on
want to
this film.
I guess I'm just gonna jump in real quick because I
Yeah.
wanted to. I pointed out also that the cast was something I really enjoyed. Again, from somebody who's not has got no nostalgia for the movie, for the original movie or the TV series or the books. So this fresh eyes for me. Seeing everybody. I couldn't help but compare. And went down the list of who was there in the 1984 movies. And to be honest, the only person that I knew that was in the 1984 cast without looking at them primarily, and this is because of memes, because of the internet, was Sting. Um, right? And I believe his character hasn't shown up yet.
Not yet.
All
Not yet.
right. So
It
it'll
hasn't.
be. I mean, it's all over the IMDb already. We if you look it up, he's not. None of his character hasn't been casted yet. So we're safe to say that he won't be showing up yet. But yeah,
Yeah,
he was
who knows? They might cast Sting again.
in that blue brief. That'll be
Yeah.
amazing. How old is Sting?
I don't know.
I wouldn't be. Well, I wouldn't put it.
70s.
I wouldn't put past him. He could be quite ripped. But just wanted to point out. So we have who is Paul Atreides is Kylie MacLachlan, who we know primarily more on TV series.
Yeah.
Sex and the
Twin
City
Peaks.
and Twin
Twin
Peaks.
Peaks,
For goodness sake,
and I really just knew about him from Agents of Shield.
he was also there. Yes,
yeah.
obviously. Wasn't he also in Heroes? Oh no.
Was he?
No,
No,
I was
I don't
thinking
think
of somebody
so.
else. I'm thinking of somebody else. But yeah. And then Timothy.
Timothée Chalamet.
Chalamet is obviously a younger. It was a younger Kylie MacLachlan, but very different takes, I guess.
Still, you can
from the-
still see the. I mean, the younger
the-
Kylie MacLachlan and Timothée Chalamet. There's still that really huge.
Seems like
age
it, like
difference.
age
You can s- yeah.
difference. Yeah.
Or at
Um,
least the features are more. The 1984 version had more mature
a
features.
more
Yeah.
mature feature, right? Now, after that, I was like, Paul Atreides, cool, okay, get. And then I took a look at the rest and I was shocked that Patrick Stewart was actually
Yes.
Gurney Halleck. And I was like,
Yes.
really?
Yes.
Really? This is where my hype for my interest in actually watching the 1984 started
You wanted to see
building
Patrick
up.
Stewart.
I actually wanted to see
Picard.
because Gurney Halleck is no pushover in the Dune story. And I was
Yeah.
like, what? And then we have in the 2021 cast, we have
Thanos.
the big guy Thanos.
Let's just call him
Josh
his
Brolin
That's
as
not his real name. His real name is Thanos.
exactly
Yeah.
as in the role, and he's very intense, right? He was quite intense. Max von Sydow as the judge of the change, Dr. Leet Gaines. I was like, what? Really? So Sharon Duncan Brewster. So they had like a gender shift for this one. I'm not sure
Yeah.
about the book. I'm assuming
In the book, if I remember
Keynes.
my reading correctly, Kynes is male.
is male. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm just a big fan of Max von Sydow. And then obviously, and this one I also did not expect. Dean Stockwell from Quantum Leap is Dr. Wellington Yue, and which is Chang Chen, Taiwanese actor, for the 2021 version. I was just like, what? So the original cast was nothing to snuff about as well.
Mhm.
So it's actually pretty cool. I just wanted to point that out, and maybe some of our audience who are also of the younger ilk might be interested in just giving it a shot, just because the 1984 one. I mean, just because of these big names.
Yeah, but though we I think that we'll need to give them a trigger warning because some of this is the 1984 film is a product of its time. Yeah, so you'll have to think about
Oh,
that.
for sure. I'll be surprised if they actually survive the first 10 minutes of the movie, considering all of what happened. So continue on, sir.
Okay, so yeah, after the cast, you've got the great Hans Zimmer doing the score for this, and his choices for the scoring In the full reaction, I'm going to point out the different stuff that I really found about Hans Zimmer's scoring that I really love. How it really sets up the what happens on screen. But yeah, the scoring from start to end, it really I wouldn't say that it's a character all of it all on its own, but it really helps to give you a more immersive experience of the film.
It's an integral part of the
Yes,
movie.
yes, exactly. You got it there. Next, you've got the relationships, which I think not a lot of people say that the character development for this film is lacking, but I do see how they were able to show the relationships of at the very least the main characters, the characters that we need to care about.
Yeah.
They really show the relationships very well in very small scenes.
Mm.
Yeah, you in just very small scenes, you understand right away how they relate with each other. And a lot of it goes back to the acting,
Mm.
to the direction, and all of that. The martial arts. Yeah, I'm gonna stop there because it's well, we've seen it. We've seen some of the martial arts.
In the trailers, they show it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one thing I wanted to talk about with the martial arts is it seems that because of their that phase that phase
Their
shielding,
shield.
Body
their
shield.
personal shields that they
Yeah, the
have.
body shield.
And if I understand correctly, the fighting style, the face shield means that it prevents. This is available information. Um, what's so special about the shielding?
If you hit it fast, your strike will not go through.
Yeah.
That's when it
Yeah,
bounces
hit
up.
it
The slow blade
Yeah.
goes through.
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
that's
yeah.
why you see red. When you see red, that means that when upon impact, it becomes the impact is slower than when it was being.
It's like a
when-
bluish hue if you
Yeah.
hit it.
So you
it's
swing
actually bad.
fast, but you kind of enter slow.
It kind
I
of
guess.
it's kind of it's kind of like it doesn't quite follow logic because you swing fast so that you have more force.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you slow down so that you
Yeah.
can penetrate.
The
So
shield. Yeah.
where does
So
the force
interesting.
go?
That's such
Yeah.
an interesting. I really like what we saw with the fighting style as well. Sort of reminded me of some of the other movies that had special fighting fighting choreography added into it. Like
Oh, yeah.
what was that movie with Equilibrium?
Bill?
I really like
Equilibrium,
the gun kata.
Gun
for
kata.
Equilibrium,
example.
gun kata. Yeah,
Exactly.
okay.
And
But this isn't special
no,
fighting.
no.
though.
But
Yeah.
it seems unique because you're right about the entire basis of you use a lot of force, but hindi you actually have to be slow and deliberate.
Yeah.
It
But I
makes
mean, but the forms are
yeah.
yeah. I'm not gonna say where it's from, but
It's there,
it
yeah.
is from a known
Fighting style.
form of fighting style.
Gotcha.
Is the
Yeah.
fighting style from the Philippines?
That'll be awesome.
Wait, are we
Um,
allowed to say where it is? Because it's already been out there because we've seen the fighting styles.
We've seen the style.
we can
multiple movies already, right?
but specifically in the movie, I guess I'm not sure if you're eagle-eyed enough and you cared enough to
See
actually
to know
watch.
the forms.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe we can hold it back until
We'll hold it for the
For
full
the-
reaction. Yeah. And going back to the cast, going back to how the relationships were effectively shown, the acting choices of your actors. If you go to the 1984 version, a lot of it was like very out there. The acting was very over the top. The
Oh
acting
yes.
was like
Yeah.
yeah. The acting choices in this movie really helped for me. It really helped set up how epic it is, how and also how noble the families are. Atreides is how do you call this? How wretched
Intense. For my
the Harkonnens are.
How
intense for me is the better
cunning.
word.
Cunning,
Conniving.
yeah, something.
Cunning, not so much. I have something to point out for that one in my dislike later on. But yes, I see what you're trying to say with the House Harkonnen with that one because of the setup for that. I find it intensity is a bit of a better word for people like what's Batista's character, the
Rab?
Beast Rabal,
Is it Raba?
and obviously Baron Harkonnen, which oh my gosh, uh, what's the actor's name?
Stellan
Oh.
Stellan
Skarsgård.
Skarsgård is just amazing as the Baron.
Just call him Selvig.
Dr. Selvig.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And continue on, sir. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Keep on
so
interrupting.
yeah, all of that. So the acting choices, the visuals, all of it really gives off. I mean, helps make the film Dune make really give it that epic feel, which I think I was really expecting for from it. And yeah, those are my likes.
Let's continue on with Paul. I know we have a lot of overlap, but
Yeah, so I will just swiftly touch on like the things that Joel's already mentioned.
Sure.
So I like the sound. I like the visuals, the set pieces, especially the where they took what they used for Arrakis, what they used for Caladan, and I guess Gades Prime was a soundstage or something. But like Caladan reminded me of where Luke Skywalker went as a hermit.
oh yes, okay,
Because
the
it
one
was like-
with the weird it's not a hamster. It looked more like an owl crossed with a
Yeah.
those little
Oh,
furry
crab.
creatures.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because it's like a lot of water and
A lot
like
of-
mountainscapes, right? Arrakis was perfect. Like the set pieces and like the set shots were really really nice. Well done. And it goes to what Joel mentioned about the grandiose the scale of things when they show those shots and they show a wide angle shot of that, and it makes it more epic. So those things, the costume choices, I love how they showed off the Fremen's what's that suit that they use?
Still suits.
Still suits, yeah, the still suits. And my favorite part, the ornithopters. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing them, like I think part of the reason why I love the visual so much is the ornithopters. That first initial takeoff sequence, and then all the action with it. Because we're not going to spoil it, but some of the things that were shown, they didn't impress me as much as the ornithopters by
really?
themselves.
Now
Yeah.
this is available in the trailers. We've got we get to see the ship that was available to the House Atreides when they were still in Caladan, and they were big and circular, right? They were big and circular, and they were white. Whereas when you shift over to and
Harkonnen.
if I'm not mistaken, there was a shot in the trailer when Duncan Idaho, Jason Momoa's character, arrives and talks to Paul Atreides while they were still in Caladan. That it looked like a moon, like a crescent moon. So, and then when we shift over to, so it's very sharp. It's very circular, is what I've noticed with Caladan, and it seemed to be on the off-white side, which was contrasting to how bleak
Arrakis.
bleak Caladan seemed. Green and bleak is what I would say. Whereas when you shifted over to Arrakis, which is very brown,
Yeah.
but also the shifts, particularly the ornithopter, look more organic, more similar to, in this case, an insect, like a dragonfly. And I actually, when I was watching it, I was wondering, was there any consideration? And this, I don't know if this is already available. This is information that was explained in the books, Joel. But was there any basis for why the ship, for example, particularly the ones in Arrakis, were more? Looked more insect-like, because even the crawlers that was used by in that one wide shot with the Harkonnen, it looked like it had
bug.
feet, yeah, like a big beetle, right?
Well, I do remember that there was a portion where they talked about the Thopter. I don't quite remember if they actually explained why it was designed like that.
Gotcha. All right. I was just assuming it had to do with how the sand would probably get into stuff, but I guess it gets
Yeah,
into stuff
it was
regardless.
probably utility, but not necessarily the design, the look. Yeah.
Right. Continue po.
Oh, so yeah, that's about it. Was there something else that I forgot? No, no. I think that's it. That's it for me. Those are
Gotcha.
the likes. I mean, okay. I just wanna say, okay, just because I didn't say that I like the cast doesn't mean they were not good. I like the cast. I like the choices for the cast. The casting is great. I like, and I said this before. I think in the hype episode, I like the choices that they made for the who portrayed what.
Mm.
But for me, the biggest impact when I was watching it was really the the
The
environment.
Right.
Thopter.
Yeah,
The helicopter.
and so it was really the visuals, the sound, and the costume design. And it may change. Like if we manage to get Dune 2, it may
We do.
change.
It's already been greenlit.
Okay, so
We're gonna get it in 2023.
it'll eventually
Oh,
change.
really? Nice.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good to know. That's good to know
Yeah.
because there was no information when I was looking around. There didn't seem to be. Probably didn't look around hard enough, but didn't seem to be any information. So
Yeah.
that's good to
Was
I
know.
think
it
I
greenlit
saw it from
today?
Screen Rat. Yeah,
Was it
Screen Rat.
just greenlit
Greenlit
today?
today.
That is excellent. In my case, just continuing off with everybody's likes, I would just like to highlight some of the imagery or a lot of the imagery that we looked at. So, unfortunately, most of this hasn't been seen in the trailers, but there were a lot of these things that they would have those pregnant pauses, long focuses on these imagery, and these are actual physical things that are in the shot that really made me wonder. Okay, why is that important? Right? There will be aspects of House of Atreides that's like interesting.
More particularly the Atreides, and they really did spend a lot of time with those specific imageries. I
Exactly.
know that what you're talking about. They spent a lot of time of it on it in the books,
Oh, really?
describing why that's there and why it's important. It's placed where it's placed.
Oh,
I,
nice.
I remember one thing that I think you mentioned in the book. Um, the Lady Jessica and Duke Leto actually had an argument about it.
Yeah, about the
Oh.
placement of certain things.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And did it actually explain why these things were critical apart from the familial from the history or because, whoever was the one who did this, was there anything else that you could have teased? Because this is very interesting for me. One of the things that I always wonder is, okay, why are they focusing on this particular shot? There must be something especially in that scene toward the middle part of the movie. This one particular image, this one particular thing of
Atreides.
House Atreides got transplanted. It's pretty big. It's actually hoisted up on the wall, and they moved it to their new home in Arrakis. And this is the focus in that particular scene. And I was like,
There was
why
a
is that
whole set of
important?
paragraphs devoted to
Oh, nice.
them packing that up and then getting placed
And
where it was
getting it
placed.
on the wall and getting it on the wall.
See, I'm so curious as to why this is this particular like a herald part of their heraldry? Not really.
Well, I think that we can discuss that better in the full reaction.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
We'll hold on to that one until that. So those are there were a lot of imagery. I mentioned already about we already mentioned about the ornithopter, how it was very organic. Despite Arrakis being such a dry and dead place, it seemed that there was a lot of life, and you could see that. So there were a lot of shots wherein focusing on not just the survival of things on such a dry, arid planet as Arrakis, but how they are actually thriving. The fact that the Fremen have made a way of life based on something as dry and arid, as unlivable as Arrakis is. And again, there's a lot of imagery there, contrasting between House Atreides, the Fremen, and even the Harkonnen. Um, the colors, for example, the
Mhm.
palette color, the color palette. Have you noticed that for example, Harkonnen and Atreides seem to have only one color? It's not very. The livery is very minimal.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
It's very flat, not flat, it's singular colored.
Mm.
I'm wondering if that's a culture thing attached to the fact that at this day and age, tens of thousands of years from whatever our current present day is, things seem to be a little bit more, I don't know, socialist. Flat color, you're white, you're black, you're brown because there's sand everywhere. Right? It's just interesting. I just love that one. One thing about the cast I forgot to point out is my man David Dashmal Shan as Peter De Veers.
Mhm.
I'm just so happy he was there. Unfortunately, this is one of the things I will point out in the dislikes about him. So special shout out that he's actually there. He's part of the Powerhouse cast in 2021. And now we'll go towards our dislikes. So I guess we'll start off again with Joel. Go ahead, Joel.
Okay. Well, I had this gripe. I've had this gripe with Star Wars, and it's understandable that it's similar here because Star Wars was, in a way,
Significantly
heavily
influenced.
heavily influenced by Dune. But yeah, it so I guess Star Wars copied the predicament that I have with Dune from Dune, the fact that each world apparently only has like one kingdom or one house.
It's
Each planet,
it's not diverse, is what you're looking is.
yeah.
The
So like
diversity.
in Caladan, you only see House Atreides.
Hmm.
In whatever homeworld it is of the Harkonnen, they're the only ones there. Arrakis is just a whole desert world, and you've got the Fremen and whoever is the steward of Arrakis.
But you
There's
do
no
have
other.
you do have the Shia Hulud.
But yeah, but they're not. They're not
They're
a
denizens
civilization.
they're
They're not a civilization, right? So yeah, so you've got the Fremen and whoever's the steward. So I've always had that gripe with Star Wars movies, where each planet seems to be inhabited by one, if at most probably two, like the world of Jar Jar Binks. They had those fish guys in the water, and then
Mm.
they were the ones living above land,
Oh,
something.
yes. Okay. Yep.
right? Something like that. But
Naboo had like two, right? Naboo had Jar Jar's people and
yeah, no, yeah, and
Amidala's people.
was Jar Jar from Naboo?
Yeah.
Really?
Isn't Jar Jar from that world with the fish people?
And
Yeah,
the planet without the core, you can swim right through it. Wasn't that it? I don't know. It's a different movie. and
Anyway,
we
but
better-
yeah, but for the most part, Star Wars is one world, one kingdom, right? One world, one setting.
Wait. Mandalorian changed that, right? I mean, you watch Mandalorian. You like Mandalorian.
Because Mandalorian has already it's already like
It's learned.
Yeah, it's
It's
learned from the
learned.
mistakes of
What he's
George
referring
Lucas.
to is the original trilogy.
Okay,
I guess,
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but still, if they visit the place in a planet, you see that the planet is only like one color,
Mm.
one look, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's one thing that I sort of dislike, but it's understandable. The books from 1965. They're not going to change that part of the
Suddenly
lore.
just adding diversity into,
Yeah, right.
into the biome.
Yeah, another dislike or con that I have for this is I really want to watch this on IMAX.
I know.
The scale, the epicness. I don't
And
know
that's
if
what
the
they're
word.
really gunning for. That's why you have these like huge, wide panoramic shots.
Probably.
And
Probably.
you sitting in front of the cinema, in an IMAX cinema, would actually make you feel like, whoa, I'm looking at such
Yeah.
a huge thing.
Right?
Imagine seeing that scene where Paul Atreides confronts the Shia Hulud for the first time.
Yes.
That would have been Oh, but that alone would have been
Yes.
epic just watching it in that IMAX
Yep.
screen.
I agree.
Yes. So yeah. So yeah. Well, cinemas are starting to open up here in the Philippines. Hopefully.
Sure, a PPE.
Hopefully.
The
Hopefully.
challenges
Yeah.
of the times.
Wear a
Yeah.
still suit.
Wear a still suit. Yeah. I'll use my own. And since it's very hot here in the Philippines, I can use
It's
my own
perfect.
sweat.
You're just
Yeah.
recycling the
Just-
water
yeah.
all the
Recycling my
time.
sweat.
So you'll never get COVID that way because you're
Yeah.
You have a
breathing
re-
your
I'm
own
breathing
air.
through the apparatus
Yeah.
and I'm drinking. So I'll just drink a lot of Coke. So I'll sweat Coke maybe.
Sweat
I don't
sugar.
think it
You'll
works.
sweat sugar.
I don't think it works that way, but sure, okay.
So yeah, so that's and another tiny issue that I have is with the runtime. The film is 149 minutes long.
Mhm.
Well, 148 and 56. And when I rewatched it, I think that it could have easily ended at the 92nd minute, 16-second mark.
I'm telling you, it's all of
Uh,
those expositions focusing on those imageries.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I mean, I get the reason why they do focus on those things. But in terms of the story, I think that it could have that's my reason. That's my gripe. It's not the length, but it's the okay, this is a good point to stop part 1 since you're going to
Split it up anyways.
break it up
Yeah,
into
gotcha.
multiple movies. Put it here so that you have enough for people to actually want to watch the second movie,
Gotcha.
and you've given them enough for the story of the first movie to have ended.
Mm, mm. Ooh,
Right?
interesting. Are you at the part of the book? I mean, what part of the book are you in reference to the movie? Just
I've
in
only-
approximate length of the movie.
I've only reached up to when they saved the people from
Careful
the
with that.
spice, the spice harvester.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, gotcha.
So I'm only there.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so it's given that it's a 1965 book. It was written in 1965, and it's possibly inspired several of the protagonist hero
Definitely.
tropes in sci-fi and fantasy that we have
Yeah.
in most of the films since then. The protagonist hero in this film is so OP. Things just go his way. Things fall into place.
But
Yeah,
wouldn't you agree that that's the only way the story will progress?
I haven't thought that through,
Okay.
but I think that there is a way for him to not get things as easily as it happens in the movie.
So you're saying you
in the
want him to suffer and squeal a little bit more?
Probably.
or grow a bit more, I guess.
See, this
Get
is-
trained.
Yeah.
Get trained more.
Through trained or go through life experience basically.
to grow through
Right.
the pain and suffering of experience.
Yeah, because he is the protagonist, the one who gets first, who gets hurt first.
Yeah, okay. So in the movie, there was one particular point. What we're actually referring to. Do you feel that that's not enough? There should have been a bit more.
There should have been enough, because my thing about him being OP, about things falling into place for him, is that okay, I need to get out of something. Don't worry, I know how to do it.
Okay.
He instinctively, the hero instinctively knows how to do things.
Yeah. Okay. And this is a
But-
trope.
And
Unfortunately,
it is
this is a trope.
it's integral to his character actually,
Exactly.
Yeah.
exactly.
Wasn't
especially in Iraq.
start,
it's
right?
integral to his
But
character.
even before that, at the very start of the movie, he was raised up a certain way.
Mhm.
We can say that, right?
Mhm.
So, and that's minus the training that he's gotten, with like the
With Gurney,
weapons
we can see
master,
that one. That he was actually
right?
fairly well trained in martial arts.
Yeah. So
With Gurney and Idaho.
yeah, but what I think what Joel wants is more of the real life experience.
The organic growth.
Because these are all classroom teachings.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And to be fair, that was challenged in the movie, and we could see how made a decision on the fly, and then the result of that one happened, and there was a change. But I can see that this is where Joel's point actually shines the most. Suddenly, so he goes through this experience.
And then all of a sudden he's like, whoa.
Exactly. Yes, I know. You're quite...
But okay. Without spoiling anything, there was one scene where it was proven that he wasn't ready.
Correct. Yes. It's just that what Joel is pointing out, storytelling so far. I'm not sure about the books. I'm assuming the books, since it has the advantage of being written down and as long it can be consumed in as long as the time as possible. The pace at which we get from point A to point B here doesn't feel as organic. It could have been a bit more detailed.
Yeah.
I mean, the challenge obviously is that there's X amount of time. It's just that the movie already is long. I mean, you've pointed out I'm sure you'll bring this up when we get to you, that the length is already a point of contention, right? It could have, if you're going this long anyways, there could have been a little bit more organic growth. I'm assuming what Joel's trying to say.
but the thing there is, in the book,
Is it the same?
he's already OP. He's already OP in the book. And you know that he's OP because the book tells you that he's OP.
Oh, by the way, this guy can do anything.
Yeah.
I think.
And
from the
because
start-
again, it's because it's from 1965.
Yes.
And those are the tropes that they had. I mean, or probably that it started. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's the thing. But actually, the entire time that while I was watching, probably the second time, my second viewing, I was thinking, oh my gosh, this hero is the male version of a Mary Sue.
So
Okay,
the
fair.
male version of Rey from
Fair,
Star Wars.
fair enough. Ray,
But
actually.
I think like what Joel mentioned, that's a little is true, because in the book, even though I would have imagined it the same way, the time he meets the Reverend Mother,
Yes,
the
that's that
shot
scene.
per shot,
Yeah, that's the thing.
from the book to the scene, it feels that it would have been the way I would have imagined it in my mind when you read it, but the way they depicted him in the book versus here in the movie, I felt like they depowered him a bit more in that scene, because in the book
really?
it felt as if he went toe to toe with the Reverend Mother, and
here,
it was the
not quite.
Reverend Mother who actually pulled back.
Oh, interesting.
Something like that. It
Interesting.
was a different scene in my head when I was reading the book for that scene versus when I watched it.
This in the trailer. This is the one wherein he was going through that test, right? That test.
Yeah.
Of
Put the
of
hand in the box.
Yeah, right. What's in the box? No, okay, that's a different one.
It was
And
the,
I
it
have
was
a
the
point
cat.
on that in my full reaction.
Okay.
It was the cat.
It was the cat.
It was the
scratching
cat.
his-
Yeah.
Scratching his hand.
The
Couldn't
cat
take it.
was placed in a different box somewhere.
The Schrodinger's
somewhere in the
cat
world.
was somehow
The
in that.
Schrodinger's cat. Yep.
Somehow in that
Schrodinger's cat
tiny
was
thing.
there.
tiny box. Paul, go ahead with your likes. With your dislikes.
Dislikes.
Hmm.
So I actually wrote like two things. And it kind of bothered me a lot. It's I'll go with my second one first, because when I was watching it, the scene, the shifting, the transitions of each scene felt like it was off. Like they cut, then they cut, then they cut, then they, and it felt so weird. It was so jarring to see scene and then whoa, completely different scene, and then after that completely different scene, and then it's
They
weird.
didn't dissolve. They didn't use dissolves or wipes or anything like that.
See,
was
It
just
didn't.
jump
Yeah.
cuts.
This is something-
I would have been okay with a fade to black.
See, here's the thing. This is one thing it's more of a pet peeve really, but this is a standard. You could actually almost say that it's a template for Star Wars. Those wipes.
Yeah, the wipes.
And
Yeah,
I
the
was like,
wipes.
I did not like that. So in this one,
Yeah.
I actually
I think
quite
Lucas
appreciated it.
started that whole thing.
He
the
did,
wipes.
and I just don't like it. I mean,
So
especially
I
with our
don't-
modern.
It didn't have to
Star
be
Wars.
wipes.
Fair.
But it just felt really. I just felt really weird. Sorry, I weirded. Not weird, but it just felt like it was just jumping from place to place, and there was no continuity looking at each scene. Although it stopped. So that was when they were in Caladan, but when they were in Arrakis, and I don't know if it was because of the whole thing being just sand.
Exactly.
It
I
felt
was
like
about to say.
it had a better transition.
The
So I don't
transitions
know.
was a lot easier. It was a lot less obvious because it was from brown to brown.
I guess so. So that's one dislike I didn't I so I just want I it didn't feel organic, the scene shifting, the switching of the scenes. The and I think the major one for me was, and I didn't read, I haven't finished reading the book. I mean, I'm even farther away from where Joel is, right?
Yeah.
So this movie feels like it's a long-winded intro to something better, and I don't know.
It's Thor for you. It's Thor.
I wish they put something better. I wish we got to the something better. But now that they greenlit the something better, I guess we're getting there.
Right.
Yeah, but it just felt like a long-winded introduction. And I did read somewhere that when you do pick up the book and when you actually start reading the book, it's one of the things that will get you through reading the book is by just reading it. You jump head first, you get bombarded by these weird names,
The
weird
jargon of
language.
the
Because later on, it's going to explain itself.
It's gonna make sense later on. Just don't focus too much on that. Just keep on reading, and you'll eventually get to where it's important, and then everything will click into place. And I think that's what this movie is. Like you jump in head first, you have fun with it, and then it'll click into place when we get the second movie.
That's a bit unfortunate because obviously the first movie, it being two parts, has the burden of the onus of being the world building story part,
Yeah.
right? And I thought I agree that it's semi long-winded, but I guess I appreciated the more deliberate nature of how things were being built up. I agree that there's not a lot of excitement in the beginning of the movie, but for me it made more there's a lot of quotable quotes in this movie, and
Yeah.
there were these quotable quotes that actually made up for the plodding pace, I guess. I mean, even the Leto speech when the herald of the change came, right? And House Atreides accepts. No, he just didn't say sure. No, he has this speech.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that was probably tradition.
it was probably tradition, and I really appreciated that. That was
Yeah.
nice. That was nice. So this entire
Again, that's the fact that they actually put some effort into that line. It tells you, it contributes to the fact that this is an epic. This is a noble house. There are certain customs and traditions in place, not just with them, but with the entire empire. Right. So, yeah.
which is a side that, so I appreciated it. I did not feel I totally get what you're saying about how the pacing, how the it seemed a little bit long-winded, but I guess it's just more that since I appreciated the what those deliberate lines added to the world building, it didn't bother me as much. What I did have trouble with, and I guess this is attached to how we're not watching this in the cinema, is that the scale that it's trying to achieve, it kind of falls short because of we're seeing it in a small screen, right? And this is clear because of, again, the wide shots, the amount of the type of conflict that's currently already been shown. So in the trailer, we already see some conflict occurring, and in the context of the movie, this one is expanded even more so, but it still didn't feel as big, and I think that I might rewatch this in a bigger in a bigger projected in a bigger
IMAX.
in a bigger TV, for example.
Yeah,
Because
well, I watch it in like my TV as well. But
and it just felt like and it's this is attached to the second dislike that sort of fed into it. The marketing of this movie says that it's going to be the next Lord of the Rings, next-
sci-fi's answer
to
to
Lord of the
Lord of the
Rings
Rings.
and Star Wars, which is strange because Star Wars is sci-fi, but I guess it's sci-fi that is also Wild West. I have no idea why that was part of the billing, but and I don't know if Joel, you agree with this one. We're kind of like at the same level of nerd in terms of Lord of the Rings, but I don't know.
No, no. I think that I can get how you can feel that the marketing did not quite live up to the product, and I think it's because of where we watched it. Yeah, the whole thing
And the
about it
situation
being
right
in a
now.
small scale. Yeah, I mean, I do have some friends who do film, and they do say that a lot a lot a lot is lost when depending on where you watch it.
Mm,
Like there are movies
gotcha.
that are meant to be watched in a movie.
in a big
Right.
screen. So epicness is lost. It's diminished, I guess you'd say, because the epicness is still there. We can see it. We can clearly
Yeah.
see
Unless
it.
you like stick your face like 3 inches from the screen.
I can't see anything
Yeah.
except for brown. Just blurry brown everywhere. Doesn't feel very epic. Yeah, and I guess that's also where what do you call this? The it for the fact that what Paul pointed out that we did not get to the exciting part. I guess the exciting part. There were a lot of exciting parts, but
We got previews to the
we
exciting.
were front loaded with the world
Yeah,
building.
that's
and it
why
wasn't
that's why I
exciting.
was saying that the first movie should have ended at the 92nd minute
Fair.
mark.
Yeah, totally fair.
Because we had just gotten a very good exciting part right before that.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. That being said, I did appreciate the extra, extra,
Yeah.
because this is a perfect setup for what we expect will be coming in the second movie, whenever that one comes.
2023, no?
2023.
Yeah,
2 years
2023.
away. I'm assuming they've only said this, but they've started
They
doing
haven't
this a
done
long
done
ago.
prequel.
It'll be interesting. Is there anything else that we would like to add in this initial reactions?
Well,
Well,
episode?
I have some other notes, but I think that this will go into the full reaction.
Correct.
It made me want to read the book more.
Yeah, me too.
It made me want to read it. If it has, I think it's made an impact already because it has made me want to read the book. And
Fair.
and get it done. Like get it finish the whole thing.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
even just
All
the first
5
book.
books.
No, just the first book. Even just the first book.
That'll be a tough.
I think
task.
the next 4 will be dependent on the first book, which I think it's gonna live up to what expectations. The other thing is that it made me want to play the game again. Not the
The
board game,
game?
the old
There's a
school
video
DOS
game?
video game.
Oh,
yeah.
there is?
It's an
Oh.
RTS, yeah. So you play as either House Atreides, Harkonnen, and for the game they added a new house called Ordos, which was never part of the mythos, was never part of the lore. But they needed a third house because they didn't want to copy orcs and humans, right? So they did Harkonnen, Atreides, and the third house.
I'm surprised.
Yeah,
because
it's an RTS.
There's like a lot of secondary houses in the lore, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and there is a house Ordos in the Duneverse.
Okay.
Oh, one more thing. This is my one more thing. I did mention in my likes that I liked David Dashmalshan.
Dalmatian.
Polka Dot Man.
The Polka Dot Man, because of who Peter, and I was like, oh, Peter De Veers. So I was like, let me take a look at who Peter De Veers is. Peter De Veers is the mentat for House Harkonnen, and this is readily available information, just part of the lore. The mentats are are the human computers, because
Yes.
of how this reality is when doing set. They needed humans to do the computing. They're essentially just really, really fast mental mathematicians. That's what I would like to say. And
Joel's right. Now that you mentioned that, Joel's right about Paul Atreides being OP. Because there was a mention of something similar to that in the books as well, early on.
okay, all right. And what I wanted to point out here is that his character, Peter's character, was meant to be a little bit more, I guess. And it
Yes.
felt to me that the way that he was the way that we see him in the movie
It's not.
felt short, and I was
Yeah.
like, it kind of like
That's
felt that was a bit
totally
sad.
correct.
I
In
felt
in
sad.
in the book, he was
Yeah.
a lot more chatty than that.
And the things that he was privy to, part of.
Yeah.
We saw a
yeah.
bit of that in one scene when he was in one scene. I'll bring this up again in our full reactions, and I was like, "Oh, this must be it." Full disclosure, I tried to read up on the lore of like a book notes, cliff notes of the story, just so that I have like some sort of context. I knew that this was just part one, but I still wanted to learn, particularly about Peter De Veers, even for what I wonder why. And I was like so excited, but unfortunately, I felt that it did not live up to that.
Yeah.
Too bad. And that is it for our initial Reacts episode. Next time, we will be returning to Dune to discuss with we will return to the Dune discussion with a more in-depth breakdown of the movie. Spoilers and all. We hope you get a chance to catch the film by then, so you can join us in our spoiler-heavy episode. And there's a lot to still discuss. Dune is currently in cinemas and I believe streaming on HBO Max.
HBO Go.
Oh,
HBO. I'm sorry. HBO Max.
HBO Max for the next month or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again to Paul and to Joel for joining me to share our thoughts and impressions. We are holding off on the theories for our full spoiler-filled episode next time. As always, dear audience, we hope you tune in to our next episode and continue to hang out with us. Till then, bye.